This is Texas News Now, sponsored by Germania Insurance.
In Austin, I'm Quita Culpepper. We're continuing to learn more about the deadly mass shooting that happened Sunday morning on West 6th Street. We do want to warn you, some of the images APD shared may be disturbing to see. Here's reporter Jessica Cha.
Hello, this is Austin 911. Need police, fire, EMS.
It started with 911 calls just before 2 a.m. on Sunday.
Hello, this is Austin 911.
There has been a shooting at Buford's on 6th Street.
APD officers responded to multiple reports of gunfire outside of Buford's bar on West 6th Street.
APD officers, along with the Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services, arrived on the scene within 57 seconds.
That was more gunshots.
Chief Lisa Davis says the suspect drove by Buford's in a black SUV and fired a pistol at the crowd. Then he parked nearby at 6th and Wood, before walking back carrying an AR-15, shooting a passerby first, then continuing toward the bar and opening fire. When officers saw him, they fired back.
Where is he? Who shot?
Police killed the suspect. 3 of the victims have died. 21-year-old Savitha Shan and 19-year-old Ryder Harrington died at the scene. 30-year-old George Pedersen died on Monday. 2 of those who are wounded are still in the hospital.
I want to again recognize the bravery of our officers. You saw that firsthand as they ran into danger to stop this. It is quite clear that they saved multiple lives. And also to the people, the brave people that were around, giving direction on where this guy was. Everybody was looking to identify him and to stop this threat.
Davis says the suspect had no history with APD and he legally acquired his guns in 2017. The chief acknowledged the toll this has taken on Austin.
This devastation just doesn't affect the community, and my goodness, I don't think any of us can imagine what these families are going through right now, the suffering that they are dealing with, but our hearts are with them.
That was Jessica Cha reporting. Chief Davis says APD and the FBI are still investigating if the shooting has any possible ties to terrorism. And as we're learning more about how the chaos unfolded at Buford's, one of the shooting survivors is also seeing some of this video for the first time.
Oh yeah, that might be me right there. Oof.
George Davis was shot after trying to run away from the initial gunfire, only to run into the suspected shooter just moments later. Reporter Daniel Gomez spoke with Davis, who says he's grateful to be alive.
George Davis wants to figure out one thing.
Is there any way we can get the word out to try and connect myself with these people?
The people he's referring to are the ones he says helped him survive this.
And this is a pedestrian that was walking by.
Was that you?
That might be me.
Davis made it to the hospital thanks to 3 strangers after being shot in the back.
I know the 2 young guys were probably in their mid-20s. They both had dark hair. They were either Hispanic or white. And the young lady was probably late 20s to early 30s, had brown hair. And so that's really all I got.
Actually, he's got more. These scars.
With the caliber of bullet and where it hit me, who knows where it could have gone.
But here's where it went instead.
Apparently it hit 2 ribs or fractured 2 ribs, and it collapsed my lung. Now that I see the wound and the entry point and learning that it's probably a rifle that was the weapon that hit me, I'm very, very lucky that it didn't hit my heart.
What did hit his heart was gratitude. Gratitude for the strangers in question that came as Davis tried flagging cars down and not bleed out.
Understandably, they see somebody in my position, they may not want to stop.
Then came another survivor running away from Buford's.
I asked him, hey man, I've been shot. Do you have a car? Do you have a vehicle? He made a phone call to a friend who I believe was parked nearby.
Davis made it out of the hospital on Tuesday after surgeons removed the bullet.
Nothing left in me, nothing to, have to talk to TSA about when I'm going through airports.
Just a curiosity of who his guardian angels are.
I have to thank them for saving my life.
And a reminder that there can be light in the darkest of hours. Daniel Gomez, KV News.
Students gathered on UT's campus Wednesday night to honor the 3 people killed in the West 6th Street mass shooting. 30-year-old George Pedersen, 19-year-old Ryder Harrington, and 21-year-old Savitha Shan were shot and killed outside Buford's bar early Sunday morning. Reporter Jose Alonso has more.
An atmosphere of grief engulfed these University of Texas at Austin students.
It makes me feel sad. May not have known them personally, but we shared the connection of going to the same school, loving the same school, and I just hope that their family has peace.
As they mourn 3 young lives that were taken last Sunday in a deadly shooting at a downtown Austin bar. One of those lives lost was UT student Savitha Shad, whose family says she just lined up a new job before her death.
It's nice to see everyone out here supporting her and her family and the other victims. Even if you didn't know her, it's just the sense of community.
The UT Tower rang in remembrance of the victims no longer with us and those still fighting to recover.
We're all connected in some way, shape, or form, and I feel like this just all kind of puts us together instead of making us feel isolated during this time.
This candlelight vigil was organized by UT's student government. It's their way of holding a moment of remembrance, solidarity, and reflection.
I think it's really great on their part. They're supposed to represent us. I think this represents us really well. That we want to come together, pay our respects, and just hope this never happens again.
With their horns in the air, these students are facing a reality they wish wasn't true.
Just feeling, that sense of anxiety and fear. And yeah, it was really hard at first waking up and realizing that your entire life could change.
As the war with Iran continues to disrupt flights across the Middle East, 2 Austinites got stranded in the region. One of them finally boarded a plane Thursday. But as Kelsey Sanchez shows us, it's been a difficult and frustrating week for them.
Sights of smoke from explosions are becoming a common sight in the Middle East as the U.S. and Israel step up attacks on Iran. The conflict is leaving Americans who are there stuck even as the State Department urges them to get out.
I'm willing to do anything to get out of here, anything, and to hug my son.
According to the Emirates Airlines, flights to and from Dubai are suspended until the morning of March 8th. Texas lawmakers say they've been working with families to get them on charter flights.
Americans have been placed in a very dangerous and stressful situation. I hope the promises that we've heard today of these charter flights will be fulfilled.
Blaga Trinkarov said her and her husband's flight was set to take off Saturday morning from Dubai, but it got canceled. They were supposed to be on one of the charter flights Thursday morning, but that got canceled too. To add insult to injury, they haven't been able to see their son. He was a witness to the West 6th Street mass shooting over the weekend where he lost his best friend, 19-year-old Ryder Harrington.
They've known each other for 11 years and they were best friends. And we kind of felt like Ryder was our other son. So it's just we feel so helpless here, so helpless.
Since then, they've been trying to find a way back home to Austin, like many others.
Flights are extremely limited and they're very difficult to secure. I've already had 3 flights canceled since the 1st.
Amber Manzanilla was planning to leave on March 1st and has been stranded ever since.
I have 3 children at home and I've been gone a long time. The uncertainty is just so hard for me and for them. I just need to get home to my children.
While she credits the safe space she's been given at the hotel, she just wants to get home. In Austin, Kelsey Sanchez, KVUE News.
And at last check, one of those women, Amber Manzanilla, was finally on her way back to the U.S. on Thursday. Those are the headlines happening in Austin. I'm Quita Culpepper.
Here's a look at today's headlines across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. We are talking to a man from the Houston area who is stuck in the Middle East amid the ongoing conflict between the U.S. and Iran. He tells our Trace and Bragg why he's having such a hard time getting back home.
Sean Starkey traveled to Qatar for a work project.
You know, alarms are going off saying take shelter, your phone's going off with emergency broadcasts nonstop.
But now the Fulshear man says he is stuck.
It's just missile strike after missile strike, drone attack. It's constant.
And concerned with his safety amid the ongoing conflict between the U.S. and Iran.
I'm sitting here relying on Qatar's missile defense system, and I have no idea how good it is or how bad it is or how much money they have invested in it and so I have to rely on that, and it never stops being scary.
Several weeks ago, Starkey and 2 other Americans were subcontracted through their company TR to work on a project for Qatar Energy in Ras Laffan. He says before leaving the U.S., he signed up for the State Department's Smart Travel Enrollment Program, or STEP, a program that promises to share safety alerts to Americans abroad.
It's a worthless program because I'm in harm's way and they still have yet to message me. I've had missiles go over top of my head and explode and they still haven't warned me. They know I'm here. I gave them the dates. I told them who I was going to be working for. I gave them my phone number. I gave them my email, and they were supposed to warn us if anything was going to happen, and they never did.
Sean says the only alerts he and the other Americans on site have received is from the Qatar broadcasting system. He says no American officials or politicians have responded to their messages, leaving them on their own to find a way out as the situation gets more dangerous day by day.
We have gotten a little bit of intel from some prior military people that said there's a lot of people that are trying to find out where Americans are going so they can be targeted. We've already been told by Qatar Energy that we have to watch our backs around here because, a lot of people have animosity towards Americans, and we're the only 3 Americans in this camp.
He's now wondering why other nations are stepping in to help, but not his.
Hoping he gets a safe return home. That was Trace and Bragg reporting. Earlier this week, Houstonians saw several military helicopters flying over the area, and a lot of you wondered if it had anything to do with the war in Iran. Orgomena has the answer from Sugar Land Airport.
Military aircraft, including these Apache helicopters, have been spotted flying low across the Houston area in recent days. People want to know why, especially with patrols in Texas in the wake of the Iran conflict. Fast-spinning blades bringing onlookers to a standstill. Jessica Hernandez snapping some pictures. When you see these, what kind of goes through your head?
Maybe I thought it's something that I would never see. So it's pretty cool to see it, especially here in Sugar Land.
A City of Sugar Land spokesperson says the Apache helicopters are with the U.S. Army and they're in town for tonight's flyover at Armed Forces Appreciation Day at the Houston Rodeo. These aircraft aren't the only ones folks have noticed. More recent videos and photos sent to us by viewers show low-flying military choppers in different parts of southeast Texas. From above I-45 to near Baytown, the images are startling for some.
We were just sitting at work and then we could hear, I guess, the helicopters. And so we ran and looked outside the window and we could see them pretty low, just flying over.
A few days ago, Governor Greg Abbott directed the Texas Military Department to activate service members for Operation Fury Shield to protect citizens from any potential threat of retaliation after the U.S.-Israel joint attack on Iran. The governor saying in part, quote, "I've directed the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas National Guard to ramp up surveillance and patrols at key sites, including our vital energy facilities, ports, and southern border."
That's the Black Ops. Hold on.
But the TMD tells me these aircraft are not Texas National Guard assets. Still, some say the Iran conflict and what that could mean here at home is top of mind for them. Thinking about the attack on Iran, is that worrisome at all to you?
It is worrisome, but I guess we just have to have faith that we're in good hands, Like, whatever happens. We just have to have faith that we're protected by our army, obviously.
So it was pretty cool to see up close and definitely makes you feel safe to know that we have a lot of resources to be able to back us up.
I asked the Texas Military Department for more information about Operation Fury Shield, but they told me they don't have any additional details to provide at this time. Reporting from Sugar Land, Orgomena, KHOU 11 News.
The war in Iran was on the minds of a whole lot of folks at Rodeo Houston on Wednesday, which also happened to be Armed Forces Appreciation Day. And this year, more than 500 recruits were sworn in at the rodeo to join the military. So what are their thoughts about the war? Here's Anieli Ruiz.
Well, the grounds were filled with men and women in military uniforms, many of them new recruits. It was a special flyover, 5 Apache choppers soaring over NRG grounds, as a Houston livestock show and rodeo honored service members for Armed Forces Appreciation Day. And inside NRG Stadium, the U.S. Army Special Forces with the American flag, honoring the more than 4,000 service members that attended today.
Buses from Fort Hood and Fort Polk, as well as NAS Corpus Christi.
Among them, 500 new recruits, one of them 17-year-old Alessandra Cepeda.
It's amazing to be here.
Alessandra is joining the Marines, and she says serving for her is personal.
I grew up with a military family, so anything that I get to do on my journey to become a Marine, it feels amazing. Like, I feel proud of myself and honoring my family as well.
Today, she and hundreds of others were officially sworn into service by the Undersecretary of War. With tensions rising overseas, I asked if the possibility of conflict is intimidating.
It does not at all. I feel like when you join the Marines, any military, any armed forces, you kind of know what you're signing up for.
And despite the risk,
scare you a little bit, being away from family, going to somewhere dangerous, but at the end of the day, you're serving your country and you're making other people proud and making the world safer for everybody else.
These young men and women say they're ready for whatever the future holds. Anayeli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
500 new recruits. HISD is testing a new idea for the classroom. Superintendent Mike Miles calls the Future to Schools pilot the next step in changing public education, focusing on how students learn in the age of AI. Our Alona Carson spoke with one of the principals making the shift and took some of her conversation to social media.
Hi friends, Alona Carson here at C. Martinez Elementary, which is next year going to become one of HISD's new Future to Schools, with a completely different model of education. And this is all because of all of the changes coming in the world of AI. Now, some really big news is that Chandra Reed was just named the new principal of the school. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I am joined now by Chandra to talk about what it is that all of this means. So as we talk about how AI is changing this world that our students are going to be entering in the future, what's different here and what's going to make this school special?
So what's going to make this school special is that we are equipping our students with the skills they will need to be successful in year 2035. So we're just future-proofing our kids to give them those skills that help with communication, working in teams, and to create opportunities for jobs that will be available once AI does hit the job market. And we also want to show our students how to properly use AI so that they are marketable once they are ready to enter the job field.
Okay, you heard it here first. If you want more information, go to houstonisd.org.
Being equipped for work in the AI world. That's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
A good Friday afternoon to everybody. KVUE Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with a look at our forecast here across the state of Texas as we go into what will likely be a pretty active weekend of weather. Through the rest of your Friday, a level 1 severe risk for the Austin area, level 2 for San Angelo, level 2 North Texas DFW, and then as you go across the Red River, a bigger severe threat into parts of Oklahoma and well north of there. And as this says Friday, a lot of this will be like late day Friday into Friday night as the system is moving into our area. Then we pick things up Saturday into Saturday night with a level 2 risk for central Texas into east and southeast Texas and down to about Corpus Christi. We're going to continue to have some active weather, I think, even beyond that into Sunday. So a cold front is coming through, and you're going to see the impact of what this means for our temperatures. I mean, look at some of these numbers in Amarillo and Lubbock from 70s and 80s to 50s and 60s. And even the DFW area, 80 degrees Friday ahead of the front, 60s and 70s for the rest of the weekend, so a much cooler pattern coming in. And for Austin, down to the 70s by Sunday. Houston eventually dropping into the 70s for Saturday and Sunday as well. For the southern third or so of our state, still things looking pretty warm as the cooler air is not going to make it that far south. So about our storm chance, let's go through the rest of the afternoon into tonight. The late afternoon, evening, staying a little quiet, but again, as we go overnight, that's when we have a front moving in that will spark some showers and storms. So here's midnight, and then as we keep going into 7 a.m., now we have this batch of showers and storms developing from San Angelo into North Texas, and some of these certainly could be strong to severe. Then ultimately, as we go through the day on Saturday into the afternoon, we've got this band of showers and storms moving through central Texas, and that'll just kind of kick off additional waves of rain and storms for places like San Antonio, up to Austin, up to Temple, Waco area, into parts of East Texas out towards Tyler. We're going to have these showers and thunderstorms as we go through Saturday night into early Sunday, and then this front kind of lingers across the area, so additional waves of showers and storms, especially over parts of central Texas and even parts of southeast Texas as we go through the day on Sunday. So future rainfall, this will take us just through Sunday afternoon, which, by the way, we've got a few more systems coming in next week, but it's got a pretty big swath here of 1 to 3 inches plus of rain, which goes all the way from parts of East Texas into the Austin area, down to San Antonio, and even down farther to the southwest than that. As we go into next week, again, we do have another system coming in, so I'll show you that real quick. Here's our Saturday storm system on the longer range data. And then Sunday, some lingering rain and storms. And then we'll wait as we go into next week around Tuesday and Wednesday, another opportunity for rain and some storms. So here's our 3-day forecast across the state. We'll start for North Texas. DFW area, you can see that cooler weather coming in on the backside of the cold front into Saturday and Sunday. For Central Texas in the Austin area, Waco, Fredericksburg, Saturday and Sunday, both looking pretty wet and stormy as some cooler airs coming in by Sunday. For East Texas, takes a little while longer for the rain chances to ramp up, and of course not quite as cool, but still down to the 70s as we go to Sunday. And likewise for parts of South Texas in the valley, not quite the same impact from the rain and storms, but even for places like San Antonio, Corpus, Laredo, we do expect a storm chance for late Saturday into Sunday. We'll keep you posted on the forecast right here on Plus.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Izaguirre with a look at your headlines from North Texas. Many are on edge as we track another round of severe weather. Storms from Wednesday night caused major issues for drivers. US 80 just outside Sunnyvale was covered in high water, and as many as 3 cars had to be fished out of the water there. Luke Clary explains why this often happens in North Texas.
Hours after the storm, there were still signs of it.
Well, as you can see, my car is in a bit of a predicament right now.
Fortunately, Courtney Jackson wasn't hurt when her car slid into the pond of water on US 80 just outside of Sunnyvale.
Saw there was a lot of water, tried to stop, but it was too late.
Grainy surveillance footage captured the early morning moment. She says there was no warning.
Were there any emergency crews, any crews out here letting you know that there was water out here?
No, there was no lights, no anything.
It took TxDOT crews hours to clear the drainage grate clogged with mud and debris and for the water to drain away.
At that location, you got a depression.
Hydrologist Fei Pan researches flash flooding at the University of North Texas. He says this stretch of road may need better warning systems.
Yes, definitely. There's a missing gap here, I think. We got a camera, we detect that, but that didn't trigger a warning. Yeah, definitely there's a gap.
We asked TxDOT whether any long-term drainage improvements are being considered for this stretch of US 80. The agency says it's checking with engineers. The department says flash flooding can develop quickly and that drivers should never try to cross high water.
I guess it was just too late. I was moving too fast, even though I was going the speed limit. I'm not really sure. It all happened very fast.
In Sunnyvale, I'm Luke Clary.
Businesses are also cleaning up after those storms roll through and before the next round hits. In Garland, those storms were strong enough to crumble a building to rubble. Our Richard Solomon was on the ground speaking with crews about what happened and what's next.
You're looking at the old sheet metal building here in Garland. Fire crews say the storms that we had last night likely what caused it to collapse. Now the question is today, is it salvageable?
Obviously lost the roof as well as some of the support beams inside. Water damage.
Kyle Latham knows how powerful Mother Nature can be, and on Thursday, her force brought him here to West Kingsley Road in Garland.
We'll be looking at this from a rebuild, construction, water containment.
Latham works with Mooring, a disaster restoration and commercial construction company, now assessing what's left of this sheet metal building. Wednesday evening, spring storms rolled through North Texas. Safety crews say the collapse wasn't caused by wind, but by rainwater weight that built up on the roof.
There is some damage inside, damage to the structure, the office building. A lot of the sprinklers went off.
But for crews surveying the wreckage, the biggest question is simple. Can it be saved?
Absolutely. It's salvageable.
And this is Texas. This is getting the springtime of year. Weather changes in a minute.
James Duggar with the Garland Fire Department says 7 people were inside. They heard the roof start to buckle and got out just in time. He says to take this as a warning of how powerful storms can be.
So we would always recommend pay attention to your situation.
Have proper emergency contingency plans with all the spring weather we're about to have.
With another round of storms expected Friday night, crews will keep a close eye on what's left of this structure and on whatever else Mother Nature decides to bring next. In Garland, I'm Richard Solomon.
State and local leaders broke ground today on the nearly $900 million I-30 Canyon project in Dallas, a massive effort to widen the interstate and connect North Texans around the city. Kevin Reese shows us what drivers can expect as construction ramps up.
For 2 months now, contractors have been turning a lot of dirt. Twice closing I-30 and tearing down a dozen bridges.
All right, good morning, and thank you for being here today.
But Thursday, where the Cadiz Street and Ackard Street bridges used to be.
Getting Texans moving and out of traffic faster and safer is the goal.
TxDOT ceremonially turned a few shovels more.
3, 2, 1.
There are a lot of positive changes coming.
The $888 million project will widen I-30 between I-35 and I-45 from 6 lanes to 12, build lid parks, better connecting pedestrians to both sides of the freeway.
Is the heart of North Texas.
Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins likens it to heart surgery.
Knitting things together with that central business district, ensuring that that heart stays strong. You can lose a finger, but you can't lose a heart.
For growth and economic development as downtown now spreads to the south.
But remember, as they work on this project and bridge Dallas and restitch Dallas back together, as they told us, remember, be patient. This is going to take some time. The estimated completion for the entire project is the year 2031. But as that construction continues and additional freeway closures remain very likely, Senator Royce West had this to say.
As we tear down bridges, we will be building bridges to make sure we connect our communities back.
Communities and a freeway improved 5 more years down the road. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
In Argyle, the city is seeing major growth, so much so that leaders are holding a grand opening for a new grocery store. This new Tom Thumb store is the centerpiece of a bustling retail center. City leaders say the grocery store will give residents more options. However, some residents tell our Scoop Jefferson they are not looking forward to the change.
A grand opening for a new grocery store in part of one of the fastest growing corners of North Texas is quickly raising new concerns about traffic. A new Tom Thumb just off Highway 407 between Northlake and Argyle has Tyler and Brianna Condon wondering what traffic will look like.
It's getting worse, but it's usually around like normal times. I feel like traffic hours and then school times. There's a lot of schools over here, so I feel like that makes it worse.
You kind of have to switch up your route. You think you're going to take a left somewhere, kind of get stuck there for a couple minutes.
And how they'll get around.
And then they made it where it's a no U-turn, so it's like we always have to come out on this road, which makes it worse.
Traffic and population have absolutely exploded in this area.
And North Lake Mayor Brian Montini says traffic will get worse before it gets better.
The county as a whole is seeing 90 new people per day move to Denton County, and we are absorbing a big portion of that through our residences and also through traffic.
The mayor showed us maps outlining thousands of surrounding subdivisions, with every nearby interchange booming with more and more drivers.
We have 3 major interchanges: 407 interchange, just north of us, Robeson Ranch Crawford Road interchange, and the 1171 interchange. All of them are backed up unmanageably, and we should have 6 lanes of traffic out here, and now we only have 2 still. And we are waiting.
Montini has made multiple trips to Austin, meeting with state transportation leaders, looking for relief.
I've had 5 trips to Austin in the past year.
And will likely make more trips, especially after experiencing what's happening on their roads firsthand.
I'm probably sitting right behind you, stuck in that traffic, and it is so frustrating.
In Denton County, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. Recovery is underway in Wills Point after fast-moving floodwaters swamped homes and triggered a dramatic rescue. Crews say strong currents and several feet of water made it a dangerous response. Here's CBS 19's Ayanna Aird.
We're in Athens for the afternoon, and we came home, cooked dinner, was watching TV, and it started raining, and normal rain.
But within about an hour, the situation quickly changed.
We called 911 because we couldn't see out our gate, and we knew we were in trouble.
Wednesday night, severe flooding impacted several homes in Wills Point.
This one for our little town was a big deal.
Rhonda says water surrounded her home and also started filling in on the inside.
And it was just surrounding us. It was like we were sitting on top of a lake.
This led to a rescue she never expected.
A rope tied to the house from Pecan Avenue, and take one of my mattresses off my bed, and we rode a mattress out to the road, which was very scary. The guy's head was about right here. The water level was probably right under his chin. When we were pulling out.
Wills Point Police says crews navigated through 4.5 feet of water with strong currents to reach the family.
Very thankful they got out and no one was harmed. The house can be salvaged. It's wet, saturated, every 2 feet up the walls, so everything below there has to be professionally dried out.
It's the master bedroom. The water line got up to here.
Police Chief Long says no injuries happened during the rescue, and he continues to hope and pray for safety of all residents.
God only gives you what you can handle, so we'll make it.
Rhonda says she's grateful her and her family made it out alive from a situation that could have been much worse. In Wills Point, I'm Ayanna Aird.
March is Women's History Month, and all month long, CBS 19 is highlighting East Texas women making a real impact in their communities. We head to Chapel Hill ISD, where one educator has shaped the lives of hundreds of students over nearly 3 decades and is now at the helm of the district's early career pathways. CBS 19's Robert De La Garza has her story.
Laura Helm is widely praised in the classrooms at Chapel Hill High School by everyone except Laura Helm.
I'm not very good at taking compliments, so sometimes that's hard, or talking about myself. I always try to talk about other people around me.
But the hallways do the talking for her.
She's not just here to be here, she's here to care for you. And then
she genuinely takes a great amount of care into other people.
As the new director of academies, Helm has helped shape the early career program that now offers 12 different pathways.
What I did is I just kind of took an initiative and said, okay, I see that these things are missing within the program. And then this year, even specific professional development to help grow teachers, which in turn helps grow students.
Preparing students for their future after early education.
And understanding that it's okay to fail and encouraging them to try new things, try new hands-on things.
Students like sophomore Shakayla Brooks, who discovered her passion, cosmetology.
But then I finally got my hands on a pair of clippers. I got my hands on a pair of shears. I just started cutting, and I was like, I can actually do that. I was really good at it.
With patience, guidance, and encouragement from mentors like Helm, students are building skills and confidence.
But it's rewarding for me to see kids, I guess, just kids being successful.
Building that starts with relationships with teachers and students.
She'd always have my back, and that's like ever since then, she's just been like a big part of my life and my high school career.
While it may take a village, she's quietly making it all happen.
I like to say that I created this, but I didn't. It's a process. I'm just part of the process of how to make Chapel Hill great.
With hopes of more partnerships, more hands-on experience to open more doors for her students. For CBS 19, I'm Robert De La Garza.
And that's a wrap over your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
Hi, I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening here in South Texas. It's now been 1 year since the welder fire that ripped through part of the community of Sinton. Over the course of this year, we have seen the various ways that neighbors have shown up for one another, as many of their fellow community members found themselves having to start all over. Our Josh Maxwell, the first reporter on scene that day, revisited the neighborhood and caught up with those continuing to rebuild.
So a lot of them, they were in that room, they got singed.
For Barbara Funke, welder isn't just the name of the fire. Like for many in Sinton, it's personal.
When I was teaching at welder, and so that kind of got burned. But, oh, there I am, right there.
While Funke taught at Welder Elementary during the early 2000s, she never thought the name would take a different meaning, or that she would be one of the many families having to rebuild because of it.
In the pictures you showed me, your home had suffered very extensive damage. How did it go from what you had just showed me to this beautiful house right here?
You know, they came in and they tore the house down and then cleared the lot and then started, you know, get the plans together and started building.
Just literally half the neighborhood was gone.
Michael Glitzer lives nearby. He says while he didn't lose his home, that driving through the neighborhood just the next day, which is the video you see here, given the conditions, it was clear to see why it became so widespread so quickly.
First heard about it, it was just like, kind of this is the worst day to have a fire, because I remember we were in the middle of the drought and it was high winds that day.
For Funke, as she continues moving into her new house, reminded that things can be replaced, that calling Sinton home is still something to be proud of.
How everybody was helping everybody and checking on everybody and trying to save what they could.
Josh Maxwell, 3 News.
And that's why around here we say Sinton strong. Josh, thank you for that report. Meantime, here along the Gulf Coast, conservation is key. 2 scientists with the Heart Research Institute are helping to lead that charge. Our Natalia Osuna introduces us to the women protecting our Gulf.
We talk about like a woman's place in science and what does that look like. We've seen this shift from being a male-dominated field in the coral reef sciences to be more of a woman-dominated field.
As a child growing up in Ohio, Dr. Keisha Barr says she was only exposed to the ocean once. But a marine biology class and a trip to Florida quickly turned the unknown into a deep passion.
First time sticking my face in the ocean and just hearing how dynamic the sounds were and how busy the life was. And after that, I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing.
Now she runs the Heart Research Institute's coral reef programs, and she credits great mentorship at the University of Hawaii as one of the keys to her success.
I was really fortunate during my undergraduate work to have a female leader in the field who was also working on her degree, and she just really opened my eyes, and her passion and curiosity was very contagious.
A first-generation student herself, Dr. Barr says she hopes to help other young female scientists find their path.
You're looking at oyster aquaculture permit holder #1 for Texas.
Meanwhile, Dr. Jennifer Pollock has been a prominent leader in the oyster world for nearly 20 years.
Being a young female scientist today is the support system has grown so much.
Founder of the well-known Sink Your Shucks program, Pollock works with many coastal bend businesses.
We work with a number of local and regional restaurants right now who help us recycle the shells that they have left over after serving oysters in their restaurants, but also help us educate their patrons.
Dr. Pollack sharing a message with aspiring female scientists.
As a mom, as a scientist, there's a way to do all the things, to have a family, to be a scientist, to be a professional in this field.
And that's a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
I'm Henry Ramos, and this is the news in San Antonio. A shooting on the east side turned deadly. A man was killed and a woman was hurt after police say a neighbor opened fire. Vanessa Croy was first on the scene and brings us the latest.
Many family members showing up here to the scene only to learn the devastating news that they lost a loved one, killed in a brutal act of violence. And police say the man they believe is the shooter is now in custody. Police say it started with a disturbance call around 12:30 this afternoon off the 200 block of Lyric Avenue that suddenly escalated into a shooting. Police say a man and a woman were walking out of the house when the neighbor, unprovoked, opened fire. The man in his 40s was hit and police say died on the scene. A woman was also hit and survived. Detectives have yet to figure out a motive or if some kind of dispute happened before the shooting. Police say they haven't gotten any calls to either home in the last year. But right now, investigators are still combing the scene for evidence and talking to witnesses to see if anyone can answer those questions. We do know the suspect, a man in his 20s, was quickly taken into custody when officers first got to the scene.
And when officers arrived, the suspect's family member had already removed the weapon from their hands, and the suspect came out without any type of incident.
Police have yet to say if the man taken into custody out here today is now facing a murder charge. As for that other woman who was hit today, we don't know the extent of her injuries, but we did see her walking to the ambulance before she was rushed to the hospital. Reporting on the southeast side, Vanessa Croy, KENS 5.
More growing fallout for San Antonio Congressman Tony Gonzales caught in a scandal. Congressman Gonzales admitted to having an affair with a former staffer on a conservative radio show. Earl Stoudemire explains what the congressman had to say.
Congressman Tony Gonzales said on the Joe Pags show he made a mistake, and after speaking with his wife and asking for forgiveness, he says his faith is as strong as ever. At the time of the announcement, the House Ethics Committee said that they're launching a full investigation into the congressman.
When you make mistakes like this, you know, it's never easy. It humbles you, but it's important to kind of work through it all.
The committee will investigate and determine if the congressman, quote, engaged in sexual misconduct with that staffer, Regina Santos Aviles. It's against the House's Code of Conduct for lawmakers to have sexual relations with staff. Santos Aviles died after setting herself on fire last September in the back of her home in Uvalde. KENS 5 obtained lewd text messages to Congressman Santos Aviles. In the weeks leading up to Tuesday's election, Gonzales was repeatedly asked about the affair, and he wouldn't comment, denying any wrongdoing. After admitting to the affair on the Joe Pags show, this is what he had to say about the election implications.
And so if we start losing districts like mine, we are absolutely going to lose the House. And then what we'll see is Democrats just try to impeach President Trump at every single brick, at every single movement. So there's, once again, everything's at stake. When I tell you, what if I told you this was about money and political power? You should believe me. And once again, I don't want it to just be, hey, Tony is saying these things. I want to present all the facts and all the details.
The panel is expected to determine if Gonzales engaged in sexual misconduct with an employee and if any favors or privileges were granted. Gonzales says he's looking forward to the investigation. Meanwhile, Gonzales is preparing for a runoff for his seat in May against Brandon Herrera. Earl Stoudemire, KENS 5.
This weekend, we spring forward, and that means losing an hour of sleep. But doctors say that 1 hour can have a real impact on your body. Roxy Van Rooten spoke with a sleep specialist about why.
When we spring forward for daylight saving time, we lose an hour's sleep, and that can throw off your body's natural rhythm.
What it does is it does mess up your circadian rhythm. So we all have a normal circadian rhythm in which our internal clocks are set for a certain time for bed and wake up time.
Sleep specialist Dr. Takar Patel says that lost sleep can have more effects than just feeling tired.
For many people, that's 1 hour of sleep that's lost. We know that when that happens, that very next day, there is a spike, about 24-25% increase of cardiac heart attacks and other issues that happen.
In the days after the time change, many people notice they feel more sluggish and less focused.
The days after the time change, many people may be a little more sluggish, sleepier, they may be a little more inattentive. Your reactionary time may be a little less.
Certain groups can feel the effects even more, especially kids heading back to school after losing that hour of sleep.
The kids in school, when they are not, they're getting one less hour of sleep. When they start school the next day, they may have a hard time waking up, and it affects their learning the next day.
But the good news is that it doesn't last long.
Usually it takes a few days for you to get your sleep back into the proper rhythm.
So this weekend, experts say trying to go to bed a little earlier, get your morning sunlight, and limit screens before going to bed to help your body reset. Roxy Van Ruden, KENS 5.
A new roller coaster is making waves at SeaWorld. The Barracuda Strike is being added to the thrill ride lineup just in time for spring break. Here's Rania Kaur.
The Barracuda Strike is the tallest inverted family coaster in North America, and it's right here in our backyard at SeaWorld, Texas in San Antonio. It opens Saturday, March 7th. Perfect in time for everybody going on spring break. Here to tell us more about it is Chuck Curro from SeaWorld. And Chuck, what are the features?
I tell you what, we're so excited about Barracuda Strike at SeaWorld San Antonio. Check this out, 90 feet high. Gives you a great bird's eye view of the entire park and kind of the skyline. It goes over our water ski lake, which is really interesting. Your feet dangle. That's what it means to have an inverted coaster. Feet underneath you dangling. It's like you're skimming the surface of the water. 44 miles an hour, 1,800 feet of track. It's fantastic.
And for families, tell me more about that.
Yeah, families. The minimum height requirement on this is 42, which is different than other roller coasters that require a taller rider. So at 42 inches, it's going to allow more families with younger kids to actually ride it and experience it.
And it goes through the steel eel?
Yes, that was an interesting thing. We had a steel eel coaster here. It's been here for about 25 years. When we decided we wanted Barracuda Strike, we were like, we want to put it here, but it's going to have to go through the steel eel coaster, and it does that, and it's incredible.
Thank you, Chuck. The entire ride lasts 90 seconds, and again, mark your calendars, March 7th, it'll be open. From SeaWorld, Rania Kaur, KENS 5.
And that is the news in San Antonio.
Here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. Jefferson County Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 is heading to a runoff. 12 News reporter Cameron Burchett, she spoke with both candidates and shared that they are ready to continue their campaigns.
Do your homework in this election. The people have spoken for change.
The Jefferson County Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 race is heading to a runoff after incumbent Judge Joseph Guillory secured 41% of votes and Brandon Barty followed with 34%.
We needed 51% to eliminate a runoff. And I've spent the last 3.5 years doing the job and meeting the needs of the people in the community.
Guillory says voting for him means putting Port Arthur residents first.
We've established what was important. That means proper representation, which I know I provide to the city, and making sure that that office operates efficiently and effectively in the interest of that best suits the citizens in this community, and to continue to make fair and equitable decisions at the bench to make sure that your rights are not being violated.
For opponent Brandon Barty, this isn't the first time his name is on the ballot.
I did this 4 years ago as a write-in. Now name is on the ballot, and all I stood on was justice with integrity, leadership with accountability, and that's what I'm bringing.
If elected, he wants to establish a preventative behavior program inside Port Arthur ISD schools.
Sometimes kids just need a one-on-one talk to and find different avenues for them, to be successful. And I believe that's my job.
Both men do agree. They just want to serve the city they love.
I'm here to judge problems, but I am here for the people of Port Arthur.
All the work that I've done over the years has prepared me for this job.
And that was Cameron Burchett reporting. The last day to register to vote for the May runoff is Monday, April 27th. Early voting is going to run from May 18th to the 22nd during that week, and Election Day for that runoff, May 26th. Well, turning to the race for Texas' 14th congressional district seat, incumbent Randy Weber, he's going to return to the November ballot after winning the Republican primary this week. But on the Democratic side, voters are going to decide between Thurman Bartee and Richard Davis in a runoff on May 26th. Both advanced after defeating others there in the primary. Now, Davis says that he brings a background in the military and business and is not beholden to big donors.
I don't have the backing that would require me to kowtow to any particular faction, either in the Democratic Party, but certainly outside of it.
Meanwhile, former Port Arthur Mayor Thurman Bill Bartee says that his campaign is focused on improving quality of life for residents and putting people over politics.
All of those are learning and teaching experiences that would prepare me to be able to avail myself to run for the U.S. House of Representatives. That position in itself actually deals with what we deal with here in municipal government.
And we're going to track this race and have more from the Democratic candidates as the runoff approaches. Election night in Newton County, it didn't go as planned after a vote counting machine froze just minutes after the polls closed. That problem, it caused hours of delay as election results were slowly released. Before every election, now that voting equipment, it does undergo 3 separate tests to make sure that it's functioning properly. But at 7 p.m. when the polls officially closed across Newton County, problems quickly surfaced with the counting machine. Technicians, they did eventually arrive to work on the machine, which turns out it was having a software glitch. Well, if you'd like to see all the election results, we have them posted on our website, 12newsnow.com. But you can also text us the word results to 409-838-1212, and we'll send you that link. And those were the headlines here from Southeast Texas.
I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Waco firefighters are marking a major milestone, and it's one measured not in what happened, but in what didn't. In the past 3 years, they've fought more than 500 structure fires, but not a single person has died. Our Juliana Jackson spoke with the department about what's driving that streak and what's helping to keep it going.
February 18th marked 3 years since the last fire death in Waco. The reason that is a big deal, we've had 583 structure fires since then.
Statistics show one person dies for every 100 structure fires across the country. In Waco, across nearly 600 fires, crews have beaten those odds every single time the past few years.
In those 583 structure fires, we've had 10 documented saves where we actually extricated somebody from a burning building. That just is proof that we're doing the best job we know how to do.
Waco Fire points to 3 things: rigorous training, fast response times, and an aggressive push to get smoke alarms into every home in the community. The department maintains an average response time of 6 minutes and 20 seconds. In a house fire, every second counts. Deputy Chief Philip Burnett says 40 years ago, homes were built with wood and cotton, and families had roughly 17 minutes to escape a fire. Today, synthetic materials burn faster and hotter, closing that window to just 3 minutes.
Synthetics, the fire spreads a lot more quickly. It makes it really hard for you to be able to exit your home if a fire is already impinging on the home.
That urgency is why the department's new chief has set a clear vision, a working smoke alarm in every single home in Waco.
If you don't have one or don't have access to one, call the fire department. We'll figure out a way to get you one.
As Waco Fire moves forward, the deputy chief says the mission stays the same.
Best job we all signed up to do, the best job we know how to do and protect our citizens and take care of those that live and visit our community.
Something most definitely to be proud of. Meantime, Baylor game days are about to get an upgrade, and you'll hear it before you see it. At every home game, fans can catch live music in the tailgate area before kickoff. The move builds on Baylor's existing concert run with stars at both Foster Pavilion and McLean Stadium. Our Sydney Walker spoke with the university about their new program, Baylor Backyard Live.
Before you head to McLean, head to the concert.
What a great idea to marry tailgating and have live music for each and every home game this fall.
Jason Cook with Baylor said with the new athletic director behind the wheel, they were looking to make a change.
How do we do tailgating a little bit differently and in a bigger way than in the past.
And they've been on a roll with music.
We've had some tremendous success with live music at Foster Pavilion and now with McLean Stadium.
So Cook said they began looking at what he called an ecosystem of live music in Waco.
You've got artists like Post Malone and Jelly Roll that can fill McLean Stadium. You have other artists like a Hudson Westbrook that can fill Foster Pavilion. But that idea of a big outdoor kind of environment, it was a place that we didn't have in our inventory.
So they came up with Baylor Backyard Live.
Grab a drink, grab some eats, just relax before the football game and enjoy some music.
6 home games.
Well, the one thing is that the concerts are going to be free.
6 chances to see a wide variety of artists, all before kickoff.
Some local bands, some kind of party bands, homecoming, obviously, we're going to look at for someone who has some Baylor ties, and then maybe a game or two we'll be able to bring in a national recording artist.
Reviving the entire game day experience for all fans.
So often, we focus on what goes on between the white lines inside the stadium, but what makes college football so great is everything around the game.
The university will start announcing performers the closer we get to football season, but Cook says they're already building their lineup. Those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Texas News Now is sponsored by Germania Insurance.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.